All right, we are live. This is the launch party for our global collaboration project. If you learned here, welcome, welcome. My name is Mary Morgan Ryan, and I'm going to let my colleague introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Carolyn Skiba. We are both broadcasting from the very chilly state of Illinois in the USA. You can see that Mary did a much better job of bringing her festive party hat to this occasion. But we're so excited to be here to share with you, first of all, some of our incredible enthusiasm for the outpouring of interest and support and registrations that we've experienced for our first iteration of If You Learned Here, but also to make sure that the process for participating in this project is perfectly clear to all the participants. We really want to make sure that this process is going to be successful and enjoyable for both you and for your students.
Great. So we're going to do very quick introductions. So as I said, my name is Mary Morgan Ryan, and I'm a school librarian. I work in the western suburbs of Chicago at an elementary school. We have pre-K through 5th grade, so my students are anywhere from 3 years old to 11 years old. And I met up with Carolyn and we cooked up this project together. So Carolyn, let's hear a little bit about what you do.
Sure. I am at a Chicago public school, an elementary school also, although our school goes up through 8th grade. So we have pre-kindergarten through 8th grade students. And as the technology specialist, I do a lot of curriculum integration with technology. I teach a lot of technology classes, and I get to work with all ages of kids. And so when Mary and I met and started brainstorming a little bit, one thing led to another, and here we are, excited to host and facilitate this process for 77 schools around the globe. Or is it 76? Did I miscount?
I think it's 76, yes.
All right.
Quite a few. Let's leave it at that. Quite a few.
Quite a few. More than a dozen, for sure.
Yeah. We are so excited. We have 20 countries represented in our group of schools, which is just a wonderful, wonderful range of cultures and interests for our students to learn from each other. Before we get started, we want to do a quick overview of the project itself and what you can expect as participants. But before we do, I wanted to let you know, if you are watching us online, you can click on Q&A and send us a question. I'm going to be monitoring the questions as we go through, and so if there's something that we haven't covered or that you are not quite clear on, please feel free to ask us a question. We'll make sure that we address that for you.
And if you weren't able to join us live today, if you're watching the recording of this archived on your website, you're obviously more than welcome to email us at any time or to post your questions in the comment area of the relevant blog post, because other participants might have the same question, and that way we can be archiving our process as it goes forward and clarifying questions, hopefully for a smooth ride for all of us.
Great. All right, so Carolyn is going to take over with screen share, and we are just going to walk through the project and give you some really helpful information. So there is Carolyn's screen share. So the project is called If You Learned Here, a global collaboration and authoring project. We wanted to have a multifaceted opportunity for your students. We based it on the book called If You Lived Here, Houses of the World. And if you haven't read that book, it's a really great way if you are studying communities or global connections in any way. It's a really great jumping off point. We hope that you will add that book into your work with this project. But we wanted to use that book as a jumping off point for this project, and we brainstormed and came up with If You Learned Here, and we wanted to use technology to help all of us collaborate. So we are so grateful to be able to use Flipgrid and Padlet and the Book Creator app as the project goes along. So this is a new project. Both Carolyn and I are brand new to coordinating a global project. So we wanted to make sure you knew this is new and to be improved. We are really interested in knowing your reactions as the project goes along, your experiences, and we are very open to suggestions and comments. I've had several people email me, and I know we've had people tweeting and emailing both of us. We want to be as accessible as possible because we are thinking long term, and we would like to know what makes a really good experience for our participants. So new and to be improved.
And
All
one of
right.
the things we really wanted to make sure of as we prepared a project that we thought would be manageable for all of us with our busy curricula and schedules and other aspects of our lives is to have a very structured schedule, but to also offer opportunities for growth and expansion within that for people who would like to take the basic model of the project and go a little bit further. So I'm going to walk you through what the 8 weeks of this project are going to look like. We just are completing with this Hangout, we're completing week 0, which is our teacher networking week. And this was really just designed as an opportunity for all of us to get our feet wet with both Flipgrid and Padlet and to get to know one another and get to see each other's faces. If you have not yet finished your Flipgrid or Padlet post, please feel free to do so sometime in the next couple of days. We'd really like to get to know all of you. And if you're a procrastinator like me and you have not yet done your Flipgrid, don't worry. We would still very much welcome your participation in that stage. Mary got hers done first, so she is apparently the organized one of this team. So.
Well, by the way, as we go through the project also, and if your classroom gets a week behind or wants to work a week, well, you can't work a week ahead, but if your classroom gets a week behind, the same thing applies. Please feel free to keep contributing to the Flipgrid or the other opportunities, even if you were too busy that particular week.
Absolutely. So we wanted it to be structured, but we also wanted to have a forgiving schedule so that as you are, again, life happens and we're all busy teachers. And so how can we make this work in a way that's going to be manageable? So now that our teacher networking is finished, we are moving into a 4-week phase throughout the month of March that is our explore and share phase. After that, we will enter 3 weeks of the write and publish phase, and we made this 3 weeks because we really don't think it will take 3 weeks for your school to contribute its 2 pages to our book creator publication. However, at least here in the US, many of us have spring vacations in April, and so we wanted to make sure there was ample time to execute this piece of the project. So that's a broader window than you're probably going to need. We're going to close with a final week of reflection and celebration. Now, within each of these weeks, we wanted to offer the basics. The basics are the baseline expectations, really, for being an active member of this project. During each week, as a basic expectation, we're going to be asking for only 1 response per school because this is very important, I think, to managing the content so we don't get overwhelmed with hundreds and hundreds of responses that no one has time to sift through. And so the basics will be 1 response per school, and that should take you about 1 hour per week. The way the basics are going to work is we've got the 4 weeks of explore and share, and so we'll be providing a theme each week, and your school will be preparing 1 video response via Flipgrid in order to be able to participate. And then the publish and share, you'll be doing those 2 pages, and then finally the reflect and celebrate. So those are sort of the basic pieces of what we'll all be engaged in. Did I miss anything important about those, Mary?
Well, we do have a question, and it's from Adriana. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Adriana. But she just wanted to reiterate for all of us to understand that we do have different spring breaks or spring vacations, however it works for your school where you live. So if you miss a week, please feel free to come back and join back in when it works for you and your students.
Absolutely. And I did receive an email from one teacher requesting a theme or a question to be provided in advance so that they could complete the explore and share phase before they left on their break at the end of March. And we're certainly happy to accommodate requests like that. We don't want anyone to feel like they're missing out on the ability to participate fully. Okay, so once the basics are under your belt, if you are someone who says, wow, I really want to sink into this global piece a little more deeply, I've got more time in my schedule, we invite you to participate in the second phase, which we'll just call Beyond, beyond those basics. And this is a place also where if you feel confined by the 1 response per school expectation, this section will allow multiple responses per classroom. So let's say you have 1st through 4th grade participating at your school. You could all engage in the Beyond phase. And for each week, we're going to be creating different Padlet pages where you can post, again, multiple responses and multiple photographs. So the Flipgrids are going to be one response per school. For the Padlets, we invite you to create multiple responses so that everybody can feel that they've been able to participate and to have their classroom's voices heard. During the publication window, weeks 5, 6, and 7, we are going to crowdsource some themes for Flipgrids and Padlets. Again, this is beyond the basic expectations. This is for people who have more than an hour a week to dedicate to this. Or maybe your kids just get so excited watching their global videos every week that they want to have an opportunity to continue that routine for a few weeks longer. So we'll send out details about that as the project moves ahead. But we just want to make sure that it's clear to everyone that, again, we are sticking with that 1 hour per week expectation. We want to make sure that you can balance this project with your other schedule needs. But if you want to go a little bit further, that the opportunity is there for you.
Right. I think the only thing I would want to add to that, Carolyn, is that when we do have those theme Padlets, that we do request that people stay with the theme. Because we are going to have 4 different themes and hopefully more crowdsourced ones. But when you're posting to the Padlet, we'd really like it to relate to what we're talking about that week.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so now we've got the sort of the framework for how these weeks are going to look, and this is one of the things that I'm really excited about is getting to know people, teachers from across the world that we might share common interests with. Carolyn and I were having a conversation this afternoon about if somebody posts something that we find interesting, we may want to connect with that person for a very specific purpose with our students, maybe even next year. And we wanted you to have the opportunity to go beyond the beyond by creating your own connections and your own projects. And so we really want all of your participation in this particular project, if you learned here, to focus on our themes and what we're doing with this, around this concept of this idea. But we all want to network. So what we're going to do is we're going to take your contact information and put it into a teacher directory. We love the Padlet. We love the visual, the way that it looks and the pictures, but we want to create something a little more, a little easier to sort of sort through. And so we're going to do that, giving you a grid type of format and publish that, but we're really hoping to be able to password protect that so that your contact information isn't sort of out there if you don't want it to be. So look for that to come, and know that we really want to give you the opportunity to connect with each other outside of this project and beyond this project.
And I just want to add on to that a little bit. I noticed in the Padlet, and I think this is so exciting, that some of you are here not just looking for this learning experience together these 8 weeks, but you're hoping maybe to connect with another classroom who would like to be blog buddies, or who would like to do a mystery Skype, or who would like to Skype about some specific books. And so that's the type of information we're hoping to capture in this grid, so that, again, those of you who are saying, I can really only do this one thing, and I'm not looking for I'm not ready to add on to it, or I don't have time to add on to it, that'll all be very clear in the grid. And so that people who are saying, yes, I'm all in, I want to take advantage of anything and everything, any idea that anyone out there has, that's great too. You can put that in the grid and say, hey, contact me about a Skype, contact me about blogging, or put some maybe specific curricular connections you're looking for, so people can see at a glance who might be open to those additional partnerships and contact them individually outside the project.
Wonderful. Thanks, Carolyn. Okay, so when we first cooked up this project, of course, we had no idea how many of you would be interested in jumping off, with us into this adventure. And we've been so gratified by your response and your enthusiasm. And as we mentioned at the beginning, we now have 76 schools in 20 different countries across the globe. And we decided that we wanted to really work hard to organize this project to make it workable for you and thinking about your students to give them the best possible experience. So we decided to organize our group of 76 schools into 5 different cohorts. And we're going to release the cohort lists tomorrow. You will be in the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, or the blue cohort. And we have sorted out and really spent the afternoon talking and thinking about this. And we really want to make sure that everybody has an audience, and we really do mean that. We only want this commitment to be an hour a week. As Carolyn mentioned, we are all very busy teachers, and we have a lot of other things that we're doing. So we put you into a cohort, and we made sure that there was geographic diversity. You will, I think, weren't you saying, Carolyn, that every cohort has somebody from Asia and somebody from Europe? I think, that worked out really well.
Absolutely. And we also experienced that we had such a wonderful response from our friends in New Zealand who we absolutely can't wait to meet online. But we have a very, very large group from New Zealand and also a large group from the United States where many of our contacts are located. And so we wanted to make sure that everyone got to experience responses from different parts of the world. And even within our larger groups, the US and New Zealand, we really aimed there for not having two schools from any one state or any one region within the cohort. So hopefully people will find these cohorts to be a helpful way to experience a really broad perspective through this project, but also without it getting overwhelming. As Mary said, the Flipgrid responses are going to be 90 seconds long each, and if you multiply that times 76 participants, you'll quickly see that that would be a time commitment beyond what any of us have really signed up for.
Exactly.
As far as participants.
So when I set up the grids and the questions for this coming week, which we're going to release tomorrow, you will be assigned to a grid that's got your color. And so we would really like you to post to your cohort's grid, and we want to make sure that you know that you certainly have access to watch anyone's video on any of the grids. But we really wanted to set it up so that you would have a great experience posting to your grid and to watching the other participants in your grid. That way all of our students feel like they have an audience. All right, so look for cohort lists coming out tomorrow.
All right, so we are excited to announce today our 4 themes for each week of our Connect and Share phase of this project. So week 1 is going to be all about our schools and communities. This is going to be where you tell us the basics about your school, who you are as a school community, and we'll be sending along more details with the Padlet instructions tomorrow. Week 2 is going to be about our day at school. What is a day in the life of a student at your school like? Week 3 we'll be sharing a bit about our learning, specific projects or themes or challenges you're engaged in right now at your school, and maybe some work and some projects you're proud of. And then week 4 is going to focus on our reading, and so each of us will have the opportunity to talk about some favorite books and about maybe some different reading spaces in our classrooms. We also want to really invite everybody to stay connected with us throughout the project through Twitter. If you are a Twitter user using our hashtag #IfYouLearnedHere, we want to remind you to continue to check the blog at ifyoulearnedhere.weebly.com. That's where we'll be posting all of our detailed instructions for what to do and for what the steps are and challenges and questions are for each week. We'll also be sending out email updates to let you know when the blog has been updated so that you don't necessarily have to keep checking that blog every day if that's not your preferred communication style. All right, so now we're going to close out the screen sharing, head back to the Hangout. Hopefully that was a helpful overview for all of you about what you can expect throughout this project. And we'd like to invite any questions from anyone who's online live. Mary, did I miss any important details as we were going through our how-tos and whatnots?
Nope, I think I jumped in with you, when I had something to say. I just want to reiterate how exciting it is to see this many teachers come together for this project, and I'm so excited to see those smiling faces on Flipgrid. One comment I will make that's going to go out in our message tomorrow is we did learn from doing the teacher introduction Flipgrid that we really will be needing you to, this is just a book I have on hand because I'm a librarian, but we really will be needing you to have a sign in your Flipgrid thumbnail that identifies your country and your school, because I'm sure if you've looked at the Flipgrid, it's lovely to see somebody's smiling face, and we'd like to see those too. We'd like to see both, the sign and the children, because it's important to be able to look at that Flipgrid and identify where the people are from.
Absolutely. All right, well, we just cannot wait to get started. We are so delighted again and overwhelmed and thrilled to have so many of you participating with us in this adventure. Both Mary and I have done collaborative projects before, but never anything quite on this scale. So as we're moving along, we invite you to email us. We invite you to provide us with feedback, questions. Mary's got her party hat back on to show just how thrilled we are about this. I think any of us who use technology with students on a regular basis know what the power of that authentic audience and those authentic connections can be for student engagement and student learning. And it's our hope in our own environments that what we learn from you in the Flipgrid posts, that what we learn from you will inspire some additional inquiry, questioning, and learning for our students that'll continue to go beyond the 2 months of this project.
Yeah,
it looks like we have one more question.
One final note on that. We were just thrilled to find out about Flipgrid because we feel like it really resolves a lot of those time zone issues, that we can have that wonderful face-to-face effect of video communication without being awake in the middle of the night to connect. All right, so we do have a question. How will the book creator be shared and once it's complete? And is it possible for us to get hard copies to keep in our classrooms? Megan, all right, what a great question. So we are planning to collect all of your contributions by Dropbox, right, Carolyn?
That's the current plan. I'm actually going to experiment with it a little bit to see if I can find a easier, smoother path, but there'll be some very clear directions coming out about what exactly to do with that those book creator pages as you create them. We are going to be providing a template, and so that will allow us to make sure that all the pages will fit the same aspect ratio and size on the screen, but that also, like our mentor text, if you lived here, we want to make sure that the pages have a consistent format and consistent content so people can look at them and have some ability to compare. As far as distributing the book, Mary, were you going to speak to that as well?
Well, we can share it as an EPUB so that you can load it on any device in iBooks or any other reader that reads EPUBs. But you can also, we could think about sharing it as a PDF so that people could do a hard copy if they wanted to.
I think that's something we'd have to look at further. I think we had only planned to distribute the electronic format, but we can explore if we could figure out a way to make it printable for people.
Great. All right, and we have another question coming in. How do you recommend we handle student participation as far as sharing the results, making sure all students have a turn? Well, that is a question that we have wrestled with, and I'm sure you understand why we're restricting it to one response per school. It just, we feel very strongly that it would be overwhelming to have, say, from my school, a second grade contribution, a third grade contribution, a fourth grade contribution, because really what we want is, what is Oak School all about, and what are the schools in Denmark about, and what are the schools in Bahrain about, as with one school as a representative. So I'll share what I'm doing. Carolyn, you can share what you're doing, and if anybody else has a comment, please post it in the Q&A. So what I'm doing at my school, I have 2 second grade classrooms that are participating as our representatives for our school. And we're going to split up the work as much as possible. We are going to have one group of students or partnership make our sign each week, and that with our flag and our location. We're going to have another student hold that sign and be participating as the thumbnail on our Flipgrid. We're going to have 2 other students participating by actually reading the script. We're going to have the whole class, one of our classes, draft that script together. So we are spreading that work out as far and wide as we can, and when we get our book creator template, we will break that into chunks and do that. And then obviously with the Padlet, that is anything, if we have time to go to the beyond, we will be able to have different students contribute to the Padlets every week. So Carolyn, how's it working in your school?
Well, I'm collaborating with my 5th grade teacher colleague, Amber Bogard, on this project, and we're still working through the logistics of how we want to make that look. I believe Amber has 28 students this year, and clearly what is one of the things that's exciting to kids is for each of them to be able to have a piece of creating and contributing to what's going to be going on. And so we're hoping that over the course of the 4 weeks, we've got 4 weeks, we've got 90 seconds, we are actually, since those students are older and can handle transitions a little more seamlessly, we're going to line up student speakers side by side who are going to come on screen, say their piece. Maybe it'll take 5 to 10 seconds. They're a bit about our school. Move off camera, have the next kids come in to record. So we're actually going to have rotating student speakers come in front of the camera and record that Flipgrid piece. And so by the end, every student will have been able to speak and teach and share something with the global community through our Flipgrids. We are also planning to take advantage of the Padlet opportunity. We're very fortunate that Amber's classroom is a one-to-one iPad classroom, and so we're going to have different students documenting different aspects of life at our school to post those to the Padlet, and so students will be able to create that way as well. I hope that answers your question, Adriana.
Great. You know, we are wrestling with the exact same issues that you are. We wish that we could offer, you know, every one of my 45 students in second grade the possibility, but given their age and our time constraints, we really feel like we're going to have some representation and do it that way.
Well, and actually just hearing that question and hearing our different approaches, Mary, makes me think that it would be very fruitful to perhaps create a back channel for teachers to be able to post questions like this and to be able to say, well, neither Mary's idea or Carolyn's idea works for me, so what else have you got out there? And so that's the beauty of collaborating you know, with all of you wonderful educators, and I'm sure each of you has a different management strategy for making this kind of experience work in your classrooms. And so we will share in our email tomorrow, you know, what would be the best venue for sharing those questions with the broader group.
Wonderful. Well, I don't see any new questions coming in, Carolyn. I think maybe the party is winding down.
Oh, well, I think the party's just getting started. I'm so excited for next week. We haven't actually, I don't know about anyone else out there, but we haven't actually told the kids yet this is happening. We just wrapped a huge school-wide project last week, and so now we are, we're going to launch this with the kids next week. We can't wait. We're going to read that book aloud to the 5th graders, talk about what it means to understand different cultures, talk about what it means to look at things through a different lens, talk a little bit about how your geography shapes your day-to-day experience, and then we're ready to go and to launch into this collaboration. And I know I'm going to learn so much from each of you and from all of your kids around the world. And again, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are just thrilled to have all of you on board with us.
Great. All right, I think we're going to say goodbye. We're going to post this video on the website so that anybody who wasn't able to join us today can have access to it. And we look forward to seeing you all online on Flipgrid. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Enjoy your weekend.